Ooh.
Here come the doctor. Or one doctor. Is that one doctor?
Deep breath.
I know. Is this chair comfortable for you?
We got wheels and stuff here. That's crazy.
We'll find out.
No.
So we come out at you. No.
Everywhere.
Ah, Dr.
That's
Lopez is here. How are you, sir?
Turn it down. Or put it in like battery, battery. I'm gonna
I don't know what that is.
Well, see, you guys are like a little bit of a incline, so it's kind of one of those deals you like go to the table.
Hi, Dr. Lopez. I'm Melinda. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming.
Hello.
Want to ask Mr. Kelly? Do you have an extension cord?
I know.
You are,
I told
pretty much.
So he can plug in his
Yeah, right there.
It's a good. I got 78%. I got 5 hours.
Don ass.
I got 5 hours.
Oh,
No.
Oh, okay. So you got it.
Nick.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
No. No.
Back there, my name behind your guys.
You said you
I'll
got
be good.
5 hours.
I'll be good.
Hey, Brian, where are you gonna have be able to see?
Oh, right. I have a portable mic. I'll get up and go down and get him.
No, I got a cord for this. It's just an extension cord. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. But where did Don go?
Yeah, because I'm pulling the text budget meeting a hearing. Let's go, Don. We're a minute late.
She's the key to that.
Don, you're making me call the meeting to order late.
Don't worry. We're good. We're
Mike
good. We're
says he's
good. I got
got
5
5
hours.
Oh, 5 hours.
5 hours.
Oh, look, I see.
Let's hope we don't lose all that.
Oh, let's not use 5 hours.
All right, we're calling this to order.
You good, Robert?
Tax budget meeting hereby called to order. Ms. Dawn.
Ms. Ebright. Here. Mr. Fisher.
Here.
Mr. Lightfoot.
Here.
Ms. Thomas. Here. Ms. Williams. Here. Yeah, I know. I know. Okay, so this is just a quick tax budget hearing. Every January, we're required to submit to the county auditor proposed tax budget for fiscal year. We're working on fiscal year 23 right now. So we'll have the actual figures are in for the first half of 2022. The second half of 2022 is all projected. From 22 to 23 is all projected. So this is just simply to meet the requirements of the Ohio Revised Code and to adopt the tax budget no later than January 15th of each calendar year. And this helps to align the finances of the district, which operate on a fiscal year basis. So this is the reporting to the county. They set the tax rates and you will see a resolution come back from them. We usually approve that, I believe, in March after the budget committee meets. So the budget itself is broken apart between our general fund operating dollars, the 002 debt service funding, the 003 permanent improvement funding, and then the last is all the other funds that we provide oversight in the district, and they could be anything from student activities to building budget accounts and federal programs. Did anybody have any comments or any questions about the budget itself? No. of one of our housekeeping items, kind of like the 5-year forecast.
So no action that we have to take on it from that standpoint.
No, this portion in front of the organizational meeting is just the ability for anyone to provide comments about the tax budget, ask any questions that they would have regarding submission.
Submission. Will you take any public comments from, what is this posted on the website, or public comments for until what date?
Probably until, well, we'll do it through next week.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll provide this to Cassie and we'll get it up on the website.
So this will be under the treasure section of the webpage.
We'll probably do it under news.
Okay.
Something that would scroll through so nobody has to dig for it to find it.
Okay. So it'll be available on the web, and what we will say is public comments up until, those public comments will be addressed to our treasurer up until the 21st.
Yes.
If that's fair, that is next Friday.
Yeah, and we'll bring this before the Finance and Audit Committee as well.
Okay.
So I know they'll be excited.
All right, we'll go ahead and continue with the organizational meeting, and we will have a moment of silence to reflect upon the work before us. All right, please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just turn it over to you. Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Like to administer the oath of office.
Yes, I would. And I think that we should do everyone together as long as you say your own name. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I'll read it over. Yep. Thanks.
So raise your right hand.
Except you have to do that.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties as members of the Board of Education of your local school district, Hancock County, Ohio, to the best of your ability and in accordance with the laws now in effect, and hereafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office until your successor is elected and qualified. The answer is I do. I do.
Yeah, so we're gonna do this one more time. Sorry. So, Mike Life, I do.
All right, you right, I do.
Andy, for sure, I do.
Thanks. Now you just need to sign it and get it back to Dawn
Yes,
for
please.
completeness. All right, so I am now a member again. So
You
based on that, I will continue the meeting as the president pro temp that was appointed in the last meeting. That is why. Got it. Here we go. Welcome to Dawn pointing things out to me. Okay. All right, so looking at organizational meeting, we will continue on. I'm looking for nominations for election of president.
I move for Melinda Williams to be elected as president.
So Kim moved to nominate Melinda for president. Any others? All right, I am looking for a motion to go into a vote roll call for Melinda as president.
I'll make the motion.
Got Andy is the first,
I'll second it.
Laura's the second. So this is a roll vote. Just so everyone knows, and for anyone listening, for the funness of Robert's rules, on a roll vote, if there was more than one thing on there, you could say the name of the person. So if there was two choices, you would say the name of who you wanted. Since there is only one, yay or nay is fine if you want to, but that is the idea with it. So if you would like to call the roll.
Ms. Sebright.
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Lightfight,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries for Melinda to be president. Congratulations. Well, you might as well do it now. You get to stand up now. And you're gonna have to repeat some stuff.
Okay.
Solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio. And you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as the president of the Board of Education of the Van Buren School District in Cook County, Ohio. Best of your ability. In accordance with the laws now in effect and hereinafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office and until your successor is elected and qualified.
All right, congratulations.
Congrats.
No, you're good.
Okay.
You were fine. You gotta sign it. Technically, somebody else is supposed to go sign it. We're good. All right, moving on. Election of vice president. I'm looking for nominations.
I move to nominate Laura Ebright as vice president.
I have Andy for Laura. Any others? Hearing none, I'm looking to move to go in for a roll call for Laura as vice president.
I'll make the motion.
Him is the first, and I will second that. All right. Once again, same theory. If there's more than one person, you would say their name, but we only have one, so we are good to go. If you want to call the roll.
Ms. Sebright,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Lightfight,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries. Congratulations, you are vice president. Almost, you got taken out.
I'll carry us through the organizational meeting.
Thank you.
And you will faithfully and impartially exercise the duties of Vice President of the Board of Education of the Van Buren Local School District in Cook County, Ohio, to the best of your ability, and in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office and until your successor is elected and qualified.
You want to do the official welcome?
All right, so I will continue on just through the organizational meeting and then Melinda will take over, but I do want to welcome everyone to this lovely brisk January board meeting. Appreciate everyone that's here in person and as well as everyone that is watching online. Moving on with the consent agenda, before we make a motion to approve it, we do have some items that we need to fill in. So looking at item 10, which is setting the date for our regular board meetings for the calendar year of 2022. Dates. Third Thursday of the month. Place. High school auditorium unless otherwise specified. Time. 7 p.m. Okay, just want to make sure. No one? A?
Yeah, I'll take AM.
No, because that's school drop-off time.
I know, I just got a bunch of glares from a lot of administrators. Okay, so 7 p.m. on the third
You
Thursday.
can breathe, Mr. Shaw.
Designate the Courier.
Not the nightly news.
Darn it. Try every year. The Courier as the official newspaper for Van Buren. Do you want to, the appointments, Mr. Flynn, do you want to fill those in or do you want us to volunteer?
I can fill them in as long as everyone is good with that.
What we got?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I have Miss Laura Ebright and Miss Kim Thomas for personnel.
Okay.
I have audit and finance, Miss Thomas and Mr. Lifehite.
Sure.
I have transportation and facilities, Melinda and Andy. Athletics and extracurricula, Andy and Melinda. District and school policies, I do have Mike and Laura. I could not remember who our student achievement liaison was.
That would be Melinda.
I am sorry, Madam President. I
got
erred.
us on
I
Facebook.
apologize.
Yeah, oh, OSBA, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
I
sorry.
failed you already.
Okay, sorry.
Curriculum would be Mr. Lifeheight and Mrs. Ebrey.
Okay. Anyone have any issues with those assignments? Okay, hearing none, we'll continue with that. And then the other items are not necessarily, they are just the run-of-the-mill business that we have, appointing mainly the treasurer and the superintendent to do several things on our behalf that are within the stature of the Ohio Revised Code. So,
And we, I first one adjustment here under 14, the amounts for petty cash.
okay,
We do not use an athletic officials fees account.
okay,
So I think that was leftover from the prior agenda.
okay, so just postage at $100.
So no 3,000.
We don't
No.
keep petty cash. Because most of our payments anymore,
Yep.
especially for officials, are all electronic.
Okay. All right, I'm looking for a motion to approve or whatever motion somebody would like to make about items 10 through 14. All items?
Yes, sir.
Kim is first, Melinda is the second. This is to approve items 10 through 14 of the organizational agenda as filled in. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. If you would like to call the roll.
Missy Bright? Yes. Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Whiteside?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Williams? Yes.
Motion carries. We have approved, and that completes the organizational meeting. 1 minute over, guys. Good job.
Mike, way to end your tenure.
That's the shortest meeting you've run so far.
Wow. Love it, guys.
Aw.
I do want to say a moment
But thank
of
you.
gratitude.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the last year.
Now you can scream.
Right
I'll
beside you.
I'll just spectate from the back seat. Got it. All
You're
right.
just gonna
There
sit
you go.
beside you. Okay.
Wait, there's something that he's sitting beside me.
Figure this out.
Okay, are we ready?
Run the show, right?
All right, so we need to approve the agenda and any adjustments.
Make a motion to approve the agenda with adjustments.
And second? Dawn, would you like to call the roll?
Wait.
Sorry, any adjustments? Any discussion?
There you go. So, Mr. Bloom, do you want to walk us through the adjustments in the agenda that are made, or will we discuss them at within each section?
I would say we could talk about them in the sections. I don't think. Yeah, there's nothing big.
No other adjustments from anyone else, right? Okay,
No further discussion?
there we go.
Thank you. Okay, so Dawn, would you like to call the roll?
Ms. Ebrey?
Yes.
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Whiteside?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes. Motion carries, thank you. All right, and then on to approve board minutes for December 16, 2021 and December 21st, 2021 meetings as written.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
And any discussions? Comments, questions? No? Dawn, would you like to call the roll?
Ms. Ebrey? Yes. Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Whiteside?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes, so motion carries. And then we have visitors' comments. We have the Sattler family. Welcome. Do you guys, you want to say anything? There's a mic.
If you don't mind. Do you need, hey, Mr. Smith, you want this in here so it can be heard?
up here, if you can hear us,
Yeah.
we're very thankful for everything you guys have done. So we don't need records of it, but we're very thankful. And you too, John. Everybody, I mean, everybody here, we're very thankful. It was a blessing. It really means a lot to us.
I just want to say that I'm very thankful for everyone. I was a graduate not too long ago, and the fact that my mom still got to drive through all of that, and I've had Mr. Schaub as a teacher and John always there for us and all the teachers. And I'm Olivia. Nice to meet all of you. And we're just very thankful for the last minute to be able to make that possible.
I'm Josh Statler. I just want to say thanks to all the board members and everybody that made it possible. That was the way she would have wanted to go out like that. You know, and without you guys, it wouldn't have been possible. All the bus drivers too. Those guys are the best. They made everything perfect. Anything we needed, they were right there. So very, very thankful.
I'm Holly Saller. I just want to say thank you for all the hard work you guys did. As the family stated, it was so meaningful to all of us. It made everything, I think, a little less, maybe a little less painful, and it made us honor her even more. So what you guys did means more than I think you even understand. And we know you guys worked really, really hard and did some things that was probably unheard of. So just thank you for working so hard and getting that done, because it meant so very much. So thank you.
And thank you to all who did the bus tribute. I know that Stacy Starr played a large role in my life and in Mom's as well. And she's always supportive through the entire journey. This dates back to 2018 when Mom was originally diagnosed, and the entire staff and family of Van Buren was very supportive through everything at that time as well. So thank you.
Yeah, I think so. But like, for you to not even know who Terry was and to know like how much she meant to everybody in the district, like that shows a lot of your character, and to honor somebody that meant so much to the school. So like, thank you for that too. Yeah. Thank you. And John Kelly, thank you for all your hard work too.
Yeah.
Like, it couldn't have been done without you either. So thank you.
I wanted to thank you for coming and to offer our condolences as a board. Again.
So, she's appointing me one last thing when it comes to being president. So, it will be coming up in our agenda, and I'm not asking you to stay by any means, but I do want to read this to you. So, dear Sattler family, in honor of the many years of service provided to the Van Buren Local School District by Terry, please consider the correspondence formally notification of a creation of a one-time scholarship in the amount of $500. Throughout the years, Mrs. Sattler supported and encouraged the Van Buren students with her kindness and thoughtfulness. The students of Van Buren have felt the loss of Mrs. Sattler in their daily journeys to and from school. Please contact me at your earliest convenience to work through the specifics of the scholarship so we can begin the application process for the 2022 senior class. The Board of Administrations felt this was a small way that we could commemorate the years of commitment to the district, students, and community. She will greatly be missed by the Van Buren family. So sincerely from the board and our treasurer, Don Jacobs. So thank you.
Okay, so on to informative reports.
So there are no
Oh, no,
visitors'
sorry.
comments from online, so there are no questions from that standpoint. We will get Melinda access to that so she can say the same things or read any of those that might come up.
Looking forward to that.
Yep.
Okay, informative reports and communication. So first up, we have elementary, middle, and high school principals reports. I think Mr. Newcomer is
Mr.
here.
Newcomer is not here.
Jen, anything you want to add to the report?
I mentioned that. I assume we didn't begin that yesterday. We did begin that yesterday.
Any questions about the next school report? Okay. Mr. Shaw, anything to add? Questions? BBE highlights? BBE. Didn't I see highlights?
He's working that.
Oh, okay, all right. So any questions or discussions about the report that your sister? Okay. Teaching and learning report.
She is not here, but since it was break, there was nothing new since our last board.
And Mr. Kelly, maintenance, transportation, food service report. Anything to add?
How is the food shortage going? Good. Okay.
Any other questions? Athletics and facility, Justin? Okay, technology report. Anyone have any questions? Thank you, Robert. Special education report.
She is not here, but again, with the break and since our last meeting, there's nothing major going on there, which is always good news.
It's always good. Any comments, questions? Okay, gifted report.
There is
I'm
something
sorry.
I'm gonna add to special education report.
Mhm.
Budget has been working our hind end off to get all of our excess costs in order and submitted. We just submitted all of those to the state this week. Those reports will be finalized for funding until probably February, beginning of March, but they've worked really hard to get everything in, and they've been a huge help in that regard. That's I believe, one of the pieces of the puzzle that were being left on the table. So they worked really hard to get that done for us. So I just wanted to say I appreciate that.
So what you're saying is being left on the table is that prior to her being in that position, these are things that maybe we wouldn't have had.
Yeah, they kind of fell through the cracks. Yep.
Get the report. Any questions or concerns? Before we get to you, Brian, I want to go back and I want to just, from a board, thank Anthony Huffman, our senior student, who got the Key Club going. That's just phenomenal that he's like a powerhouse, this kid. He really is. So I just wanted the board to recognize the work that one kid, I mean, he's had help with, but he spearheaded this, is my understanding. A future leader, for sure.
Oh.
Brian?
All right, I am going to introduce two guests that are going to kind of give the board an update with some virus updates and any other pertinent related information to the pandemic that we're in. And I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Smith and Dr. Lopez. I'll come down.
No, that's all right.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Renee Smith. I am the Chief Medical Officer of Blanchard Valley Health System here at Findlay. I have been in my position for 2 months, so I am new to Ohio from northern Wisconsin. So very much enjoying the more mild winter where we were. It was negative 35 degrees below zero a few days ago. So yes, thank you for the time. Just to give you an update on where we're at as it relates to the COVID pandemic and our response to that. So as you are likely aware, we are in, I believe, the 4th surge of COVID cases within our surrounding communities. We do feel that this is likely due to the Omicron variant. And so if you've heard about that, it is a highly transmissible variant. So easy to move from person to person. It is not being found to be as virulent. Virulent is how much disease it causes in people as the Delta variant. So again, we've gone from Alpha to Delta to now Omicron, Alpha being the first wave, Delta being the last couple of waves. We have seen internally doubling of the number of employees we have had out. I am sure you are seeing some maybe of your own employees that are out due to this wave. We have been able to mitigate some of that with some added testing and return to work changes that we've put in place. Some of you may have also seen that Blanchard Valley Health System has put out a new policy on masking. And so we are asking all of our visitors to wear surgical masks, and we are providing those to our visitors. So please know that anybody who comes to the hospital will be provided the mask. It just allows for better fitting and better protection so that it sort of contains the aerosols that we give out as we speak, breathe, and cough. And then lastly, we will be looking at all of our policies and procedures that started the COVID pandemic, our visitor policy, et cetera. And you'll likely be hearing changes that we're going to be making to sort of further restrict on our visitors just during this most current surge, again, just to protect our environment and our patients. And so really, we just wanted to give a heads up to everybody about what we're seeing and kind of some of the actions that we're taking to help mitigate the spread. I know Dr. Lopez will be able to speak firsthand of what he's seen as he's caring for our patients and some of the sort of disease process that goes along with COVID. And then certainly after Dr. Lopez speaks, I'd be happy to take any questions that anyone would have. So.
Good evening. As I mentioned earlier, this is my first time doing a school board meeting, so please, with the principal here. Please correct me if I'm not doing something right. So just a little bit of a background. Kim asked me to come tonight because of I'm in a unique position to give my own personal experience about taking care of COVID patients, not just any COVID patient, but patients with severe COVID who are in the intensive care unit. My background is I'm board certified in internal medicine, pulmonary and critical care. That means that I do take care of patients who are in intensive care unit and those who have respiratory disease. I did my training at the Cleveland Clinic and I've been in practice for more than 10 years. I moved my family as well as myself to Findlay May of 2020. So I've been here from the first wave of the pandemic and now we're on our fourth wave. And so I'm also a proud Van Buren parent of my son is a freshman and my daughter is an 8th grader. I also have the privilege of working with some of you, Mike and Kim, as well as Principal Shop's wife in the ICU. So I do see some familiar faces. So with that said, I'd like to start by saying that, we all wish we weren't here today still talking about COVID. It's been 2 years heading to the 3rd year, and it's just been a difficult road. Last year, I can't give too much specific numbers, and I asked permission from Kim to give a little bit of context. We saw more than 1,000 inpatients in Blanchard Valley alone with COVID. And just the past quarter of 2021, we saw probably more than 500. Our mortality rate ranges from 10 to 20%. So that means that 1 out of 10 to 1 out of 5 patients that get admitted to the hospital with COVID die, unfortunately. The past month, December of 2021 was exceptionally hard. That was probably the peak of Delta. And our mortality rate was close to 20%. I unfortunately have seen too many deaths and morbidity. And I think with COVID, prevention is still really the best way to treat it. Unfortunately, even not just here in Findlay or in Blanchard Valley, but in the rest of the country, we're all struggling to take care of patients once they get really sick. So I think from the message on that is it can become serious, and it's just not those that are elderly or severely immunocompromised. We have seen patients who otherwise are healthy without risk factors still develop severe disease. And fortunately, a lot of it, it's just no rhyme or reason sometimes. I have known patients personally in the community who unfortunately succumb to the disease. And even if they survive it, a lot of them end up having severe disability and morbidity, meaning disease, even after their acute illness. So we also have what we call a post-COVID clinic. We take care of patients after their acute phase of illness. And we have seen really a lot of patients, even though they survive their acute illness, they're having a myriad of symptoms and limitations. And there's even more and more data out there that suggests that this will become a long-term issue. So you can imagine somebody who's otherwise healthy, who gets a viral illness, and the next thing they know, they're short of breath, even walking up a flight of stairs. And unfortunately, we're seeing too much of that. And it again, it's not just the ones that are elderly or at risk. I've taken care of college students, 30-year-olds without any comorbidities, and now their entire life has changed. So it is really disheartening. It's been difficult for the hospital. We're not, it's not unique. I'm sure you've read the news, and every hospital system is, on its knees at this point. Burnout is prevalent. A lot of people are calling off sick. It's like I said, it's just been a tough road. But we still go to work and we still try to take care of our community. And I think, one of the reasons I think Kim asked me here is just to make sure that we can share that we're still here for you guys. Despite, there's sometimes it feels like there's no end at the end of there's no light at the end of the tunnel, but it's been hard for everybody. I want to say that it's not just hard for COVID patients, it's actually also hard for patients who have other diseases, because the end is full, not just in our hospital, but in other institutions as well. I think that, it's not a good time to get sick at all. It's not a good time for our kids to get injured playing sports. It's not a good time to be shoveling snow and suddenly have a heart attack. It's definitely, it's just, you're not going to get the same care that you used to get in a pandemic. And that's just a fact. So I feel bad. We all feel bad for those patients also. And even if they did seek a higher level of care, they're unable to do so because these centers are also full as well. So it's just a difficult time. What else? I do want to mention, I am not a pediatrician. I'm an adult intensivist and pulmonologist, but I have had colleagues who do take care of kids, as well as colleagues who have children that have persistent post-COVID symptoms. And so I know it's real. And obviously none of us would ever want our children to have those. If they do get sick, we want them to just get sick, get over it, and then move on. The last thing we want is for them to have a chronic illness moving forward. And it's just, unpredictable. There's no way to identify who is at a higher risk than others. And I personally know of a few that I really do feel so bad that their life has changed just because they had COVID. I want to make sure that I know it's controversial when we talk about masks and vaccines, but I feel it's my duty to at least mention to you my own personal experience of what I'm seeing. By far and wide, the majority of patients who are really sick in the hospital are the unvaccinated. And it depends on the variant also. We knew that the vaccines weren't the greatest with Delta. They were better with Alpha and Beta, and they're even worse with Omicron. And so during the winter, when the dominant strain was most likely Delta, the patients were really sick, and the ones that were unvaccinated were the sickest of all. We have daily sheets every day in our hospital putting out how many patients we have with COVID. And it's just very stark, the difference between those that are vaccinated versus those that are unvaccinated. And those that are boosted, we rarely see in our hospital at all. That means that if they do get COVID, they're usually healthy enough that they don't need to be hospitalized. I also want to just mention my own experiences with masks. I do believe it works, and I am exposed to this virus as anybody. We go into their rooms. We are putting breathing tubes down their throat. We are performing procedures right in front of their faces. And if masks didn't work, then I would have already had COVID 10 times over. And to this day, I've been lucky that I haven't had it yet. And so obviously, the higher the quality of the mask, the better. Like I said, I know it's controversial and polarizing. I wish it weren't. I know it works. And my analogy to this is, and my son's turning 15 soon, and one of my biggest worries is that now I gotta have him start driving. And the analogy I give is, well, would you rather have a car that has a seat belt or an airbag or both? And well, I think for all of us, we'd like to pick as many options as we can to help our kids to be protected. So it's the same thing. I think prevention is really, really important, and it works, and it really prevents serious morbidity. And so that's my own personal experience. And I've seen it. We've taken care of hundreds of patients already. Like I said, I wish we didn't have this many COVID patients even until today, but this is where we are. And so I'll close with that, and I'm happy to answer any more questions. But I just wanted to share the personal experience, us being boots on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank both of you very much for coming and again for all that the frontline healthcare workers do. Any questions?
I do have two questions. What is the difference between, we went back to school in September. What is the difference in transmissibility of the current strain versus what it was like in September?
Just to be clear, we don't sequence every diagnosed COVID patient. So we assume that the majority of the strain that we had over the late fall and winter was Delta. So the transmissibility was a little bit less, but the pathogenicity and virulence was significantly more, meaning that if they got COVID, they had a higher likelihood of being sick, and sick enough that they would need to be hospitalized. I think the dominant strain now is Omicron, and the transmissibility is significantly higher. I think some data suggests that the doubling time is every 3 days, meaning that if it's 50 today, in 3 days it's going to be 100, and then 3 days after that it's going to be 200, and so on and so forth. The good news so far, I think it's less virulent, as Dr. Smith said. The problem is it's a game of numbers, and we only have so many hospital beds. And so it's just by the amount of transmissibility that we're still seeing very high numbers even today.
I don't have much. I guess the observation, and he's right, we don't really do the genetic screening to make sure it's Omicron. But I think the experience and just the sheer peak of this curve is what's indicating the Omicron, which again, if you're doubling every 3 days, you're seeing almost a straight line up in your incidence rate and case rate. And certainly we have seen in our experience that our positivity rate had doubled in a day of our tests that we were doing on people. And the number of people we had out with positive tests doubled in a day. So we were seeing significant and quick changes in the incident of COVID in the sort of data that we follow and track. So that's what's indicating to us that this is likely the Omicron strain that is sort of taken over, in fact, the Delta strain at this point. Yeah, you can. So we know that the immunity does wane. We know that it wanes a little bit with the vaccine, which is why people are getting boosted. So it is possible for people to get reinfected. And then certainly the virus is mutating. And so that allows it to at times sneak past our immune system and allow to get sick again. That being said, usually you're going to have a less severe disease process if you have levels of immunity built up. Your body is prepped, to fight the illness a little bit better with both the vaccine and the booster and even a prior illness. So, but certainly you can get sick again.
As the virus is changing and mutating, the treatments that we have to fight it, or how is that?
Yeah, so every strain seems to have its own flavor. Delta was significantly hard. Our over the summer, our therapeutics were much better on the variant. I believe that was alpha or beta at that point. But Delta, our therapist Mike will tell you, it just wasn't as effective. With Omicron, again, if they're in the hospital, same thing. They're not as responsive. So we're playing catch up, unfortunately. And just to add to that, a lot of the therapeutics that we have we do tend to run out of these medications. They're allocated by the government. And so we don't know when we'll run out. And we obviously give as much as we can. And then if we run out, we'll just have to adapt to it. So another reason where mitigation strategies are really important, because not only do our therapeutics, not only are our therapeutics not that great, but we sometimes even run out of these therapeutic modalities. And it goes the same for ICU beds, ventilators. I mean, these are a finite supply.
Again, thank you both very, very much for coming and presenting.
Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Guess we could go off of kind of what was just discussed on our current status. And again, before get into some numbers and discussions I've had with Kareem at the Board of Health, I do need to thank all of our administrators, our teachers, Mr. Kelly, his crew. The amount of help that the staff has given each other has been amazing, to cover classes, to make sure that things are clean, that we're social distancing. Our administrators are teaching classes that, well, they're probably not qualified to teach, but it's okay. I know I've been in some classrooms that I wasn't qualified to teach, but it was fun that the kids took advantage of me, so that was good. We are doing well. Our trends this week are trending down with the number of absences in the buildings. Our elementary, the past 2 days have been in the mid to upper 40s. Not all of them. I don't know if it's because of the virus or just because of something else, but I'm looking at just when it's coded as sickness. Our yesterday, middle school was, I think he had 19, which was about the lowest we've seen in a very long time. And I believe Mr. Schaub, 43, 42 over the past couple of days. And again, I don't know which ones are the virus. I do not know. Our staff is holding pretty strong. I know that our administrators and Mr. Kelly, especially with food service, you've been moving people around. Everyone's flexibility is greatly appreciated. The parents, I know a number of them contact me. If their kids wake up with any type of symptoms, they're keeping them home just to be on the cautious side. So I appreciate that. Another development started with, since I've been here, I've met every Wednesday, as many of you know, with the Hancock County Board of Health. And the last 2 weeks, I've been talking with Kareem, and there's been a discussion about when do you, or is there a threshold for when you would have to close a school due to sickness? He might be listening because he said he was going to check me on this. So if you are, Kareem, hello, how are you? There is a CDC guidance. He says that he's given a range of 10% to 30% absentee. And he says a hard number is difficult because it depends upon the circumstances around the sickness and what it is that's being caused. He referenced, if there's a hand, foot, and mouth disease versus the virus. He and I have kind of agreed upon that when we start to approach a 20% number in any of our buildings, and our middle and high school would be considered one building because it's one structure, and our elementary would be the other, that he and I will start communicating, and he will look into the reasons for the sicknesses and seeing how much of it is virus, and then work with us to see if there needs to be a reason to close the school for any reason. So that was a suggestion that he gave me to start looking at that number when it starts to come close to that, to reach out to him. So I said I definitely would. Just for an example, the latest numbers. So our elementary school, 443 is our enrollment without our units. And that would, like 87.6 would be a number that you're looking at of 20%. Our high school, middle school total would be 570 students. And that would be about 114 students. Once you start reaching that, that's your 20%. So a little more in depth of where we're standing. We seem to be at this moment doing a very nice job of keeping kids in. And I, again, applaud the parents, because there's many of them that tell me their child, or administrators have told me their children have woken up with a headache or a sore throat and they've just kept them home. So they don't even send them to school. So I'm very appreciative of that and all of the amazing work that our staff is doing. They're working very hard. And that kind of sums it up, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions, comments?
So we're right now at about a 10% absentee rate for a generic population of 6.
Yeah, for the elementary, definitely. I think we're, yeah, in that range.
So we're already kind of, is this the highest we've had since school?
No, I think our worst, when I've been calculating it, was right around the Thanksgiving time through December, right before break. Wasn't that when it was just, we had a very high rate then. We really have, the last 3 days, we've started to come back down with our absentee, with students.
What other mitigation strategies could we do? Spread right down. That have been recommended by the-
Well, like they have since the start of the 21-22 school year, they have always recommended masks. That would be one that we are not currently mandating, but we still have the choice for parents and students to use if they would so choose. Welcome.
I appreciate the CDC, this threshold that you were told about from the health department, and giving a little bit more of a boundary of what to be looking for. So I do appreciate that we have that kind of a number, so that we can have, it's not an enigma out there. There's a little something we can engage. So I appreciate it.
And I have to give credit to Kareem. He's been fantastic. No matter what time I've asked to talk to him, he's made time for me. So it's been fantastic. I greatly appreciate the relationship we have with the health department and Hannah Plumley as well. She's been fantastic.
Well, I'd like to also thank you for going to these weekly meetings, because I know not all Pep County superintendents are doing it. So I appreciate that, and I think our district is benefited from that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions, concerns, comments? Okay, on to superintendent standing committee reports. Personnel. Audit and finance.
Yeah, we are working on getting a meeting scheduled in January to cover exactly what Dawn said with the comments as well as some other items. So we will probably have a report for the board in February.
Transportation and facilities.
Nothing further.
And athletics, we're meeting tomorrow, I believe, and we have our 3 community members that are going to be joining us as well. Yeah, district and school policies.
Yeah, we will have some items that although our policy review company that we utilize hasn't called for a meeting, I believe that we will have some policies that we need to make some adjustments to.
Student achievement liaison, no report. Curriculum.
They are working on hopefully having another meeting with an invitation to a few community members coming in the near future, probably kind of guess is what we're targeting for when that meeting is. So a report hopefully back to the board in March.
Any questions or comments about any of the reports? No, okay. So old business. Let me see if I can do this. correctly. Do we need a motion for that? We don't. To look at the agenda adjustment, to approve resolution?
We made an adjustment to put it on the agenda. Now we just need to discuss it. So old business, if we want to take action on anything.
So the resolution, if you choose to pass it as a, and this is what we talked about at our last, yes, and I placed a signature of every board member at the bottom of the resolution if you wanted to forward it to the state legislature.
It was also in your board folder for review prior to. So I am comfortable making a motion to approve a resolution in opposition of House Bill 126.
Do we have a little discussion on that?
Afterwards, after that.
Yes. I'll second your motion and then we do discussion.
Somebody's
I'm
listening.
learning. I'm slowly.
Yeah, we
learning.
got it. So now you can ask for this.
The only question I have, Dawn, because I was trying to dig around and get some information. I was trying to find something that was as middle of the road in an article that you can possibly find in this day and age. And so one of the questions I had from an article that I've read, it seems that there are some school districts that are utilizing this, maybe not in good faith with residentials. Is this an issue really with the auditor's office for not properly staying on top of the right? And as our district is, I'm assuming, since we would be more ethical, we would not go after residential, because I have read that are some school districts that get kind of sticky. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, we've not filed any suits against folks for residential property.
So is this
the only thing we sought out specifically? We would go back a couple of years and look at large business transactions.
Right.
And if the sale of the property was sizable above what the valuation that the county auditor had on the property, then the attorneys, we would file a claim, but ultimately the attorneys would negotiate with each other on a valuation or a settlement for the school district, because that's lost revenue for us.
Right. So our district, we don't really, but did I read properly? There are some districts in the state who do use this for bad purposes. And is that the purpose why they're doing this resolution? And does that really affect, I mean, I know you said it was like 30 days and there was something about that part. That's the part that affects us actually, not.
Yes, that affects us as well as they would exclude the ability for any direct settlements. And we've participated in direct settlements in the amount of about $500,000 over the last 2 years.
Okay.
So it would have negatively affected us had this law been in effect 2 years ago. So, and then when they're saying that we can file the counterclaims or we can work on these negotiations, we just can't come to a settlement that we would agree to. And we have to do all of the discovery on claims that are filed with the Board of Revision all within 30 days. And it's not a reasonable amount of time for us to be able to respond to the request for the reduction in valuation of a large business.
So really, this is being done because of these other districts that have not acted in good faith. That's a
Yeah.
big driving force on this. And so that we are getting negatively impacted because of other districts in the state.
Correct. Any other discussion?
I was just curious, do we have a policy or does the board have to take action to, I guess, file a claim, or is that just within your discretion or the treasurer's discretion?
Well, there isn't a policy for or against it.
Okay.
It's kind of go ahead.
So if, sorry.
Mike was itching.
I wanted him to get it out. He was
Yeah.
going to explode.
So if you remember previously, last year, what happens is the lawyers trigger it. Don says, okay, this is one we probably should. And then if you remember, it is normally presented before the board if we want to go into legal counsel in order to pursue one of these. So the board is made aware of any
Correct.
action that the district is looking at, and we can vote yay or nay when it comes to it. But normally what happens, so there's not a policy per se that she can just do it, but our lawyers are kind of keeping an eye on it and say, hey, this is one potentially that you might want to look at because it could be beneficial to the district. Then it comes to us and we take a vote on whether or not we want to enter into negotiations really when it comes to it. And even if we want to go to the next level, it has to come to us that if it's going to go to reject any offer that they have and move on to a court
Gotcha.
review.
Correct.
Yeah, I remember the settlement, but I didn't remember any, like, I'm assuming that was
Yes.
the
It was based
request
on
for
a sale.
action
Mhm.
was before. Okay.
Correct, yeah. And it was funny, and I have to give kudos to the folks that own Bob Evans because they did an internal sale. And they would not have been required to enter into an agreement with us, but they felt it was important enough to keep us as a partner in the district that they gave us a small 3-year deal because of the leaseback purchase that they did through, and it was just internal and corporate. So kudos to Bob.
And my understanding too is that through the Board of Revision, we have gotten some big chunks of change
Correct.
from,
Yeah,
so this
but
benefited us.
some of those sales were millions of dollars internal.
Okay, any other discussions? Okay, so Dawn, would you like to call the roll?
Ms. Ebright,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Lifeite,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes. So motion to approve resolution in opposition of House Bill 126 passes. Do you need everyone to sign?
Yes, please. I'll fill in the rest.
Okay, thank you. So moving on to new business, 21 is the number of the item, 1 through 4.
I'll make a motion to approve items 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the treasurer's report.
Thank you. Second,
Second.
discussion.
This is normally the month where I provide you the financial report and we do a mid-year review. There is so much changing right now, especially with House Bill 110 going into effect. I just attended a 6-hour training today, and a large portion of it was attached to the Ohio Department of Education and House Bill 110 and how it's affecting districts. House Bill 110 is the biennial budget bill. In that bill, there was a new funding formula that was developed to help offset the DeRolf case of, is it 25 years ago now?
No.
About,
It's a long time ago.
yeah.
Anyway, they're trying to make the funding formula for schools constitutional, and in doing so, there have been several formulas that have gone through. The interesting thing is that there are so many aspects to this bill that and the formula that we're still uncovering and how it's affecting us. This funding formula should have been in place in October. The 5-year forecast in November was written on the idea that it would be in effect prior to December. The first payment came the first day of January, and we still don't have all of the aspects of this bill in place. So our revenue is actually behind where it should be at this point, especially for state funding. Our local share has increased to over 12%. That's not good news for us. So I want to be able to put all of these items together for you and actually provide you with the mid-year review as well as an update on where we are with a lot of this information that's coming. And I would like to do that at the February. So, a couple of other items that I want to bring up to you. Do you have a recollection of a disastrous bus trip that may or may not have occurred after?
Yes.
But yes. Okay, so
A
we're
company
moving
absconded with all of the
I
middle
heard from the
school.
U.S. Department of Justice on this case. So this case is actually still alive and out there and moving forward. So there's been a lot of delays in the cases. But they have their specific people that ran that company in mind. I'm hoping at some point, I did put us into the case to make sure that if there was ever a settlement that was reached, that we would be remembered for what was paid to them and what they did not deliver. So I just wanted to let you know that peripherally, we're working on that, and I'll keep you posted as
That's a
that
blast
moves
from the
forward.
past. Thank you.
A couple of other items. We have a few budget and purpose clause for you tonight. That's for student activities to keep them up and running. We talked about the state foundation. Other than that, I don't have anything huge to talk to you about. I will say that our federal programs allocations are now over $1.1 million, which is fabulous. A lot of it has to do with ARP and ESSER money. That was also part of the training that I attended today. We are going to see additional funding that's going to be coming attached to our gifts. So you're going to receive an update on that as well. I did speak to the gifted coordinator here, and we kind of have a plan in place right now for all of the new legislation that's come through for gifted and identification and the things that we need to do to keep us compliant with receiving those funds. So that's one of the big things that's attached to this foundation formula. They have broken the foundation apart into probably 8 different sections. So we're going to have to take a hard look at how we're actually tracking that revenue that comes in and how we're going to be able to demonstrate the expenses going out that are attached to that revenue to make sure that we are entitled to the money. So there's going to be a lot that changes in the way we actually do business. It can't just be deposited into the general fund and say, oh, well, we spent this on this, this, and this. We're going to have to actually run reports and be able to identify specifically how that revenue is spent. So that's coming. Item 2 is our tax budget for submission to the county auditor. And we have the quick hearing before the organizational meeting. We do have a number of donations this month, totaling just over $2,500. And then item 4 is for the board to approve the creation of the one-time scholarship and $500 in memory of Terry Sattler for her years of dedicated service to Van Buren and the Van Buren community and Van Buren family. And that is all I have for you tonight.
Thank you, Dawn. Questions, concerns, comments?
For the new funding formula, what was our local share?
It was, I'll have to look it up
Okay.
to give you the exact number. But yeah, it bumped up. And here's the other thing that's attached to the local share piece, which I don't know if it was the actual outcome that the legislators were looking for, but the way it's set up right now in the language of the law indicates that that local share is going to be recalculated every time we have a foundation payment, and that's twice a month. So right now, it's just over 12%.
So
But at
2
the
months
end
from
of
now, it could
January,
change.
I don't know what it'll be.
Okay.
And so it makes it very difficult for us to do any solid projections based on what this funding should be. And there are other portions of that formula as well that is going to be spread apart over 6 years. if they owe us money, it's gonna take them 6 years to pay it to us. So, in some of the areas that, on our behalf, it's gonna take 6 years to be able to get the full allocation out. So, but stay tuned. I'll have a whole presentation for that next month.
Oh,
Just
joy.
wait.
I know.
Okay, anything else? Okay, so we have a motion to approve treasurer's report, items 1 through 4 under 21. So would you like to call the roll?
Ms. Ebright,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Lightfoot,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yeah. Motion approved to approve treasurer's report.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, next, superintendent's recommendation. With the agenda adjustment, we're looking at items 1 through 4. So can I have a motion?
I'll make,
You first, and
I'm,
second.
okay, yeah, I'll do items 1 through 4. I don't
second.
get to do this when I was president. I had to wait.
Any discussion
If you
after
want to,
Brian?
yes, Brian, if you want to walk us through anything.
All right, the one agenda adjustment under number 2 on page 6 is to approve Mr. Rick Aiken as a substitute teacher. And I believe if you remember correctly, was it December, he was approved as a sub bus driver as well, so, and full-time. So he is doing that and willing to teach, and that is fantastic. So Mr. Schaub, I'm going to put you on the spot because I do not remember the dates. Another one I want to highlight that I'm super excited about is our Pep Band, Mr. Prosick, a stipend for him, that the Pep Band's coming back not only for the girls, for the boys, but also for the girls at home games. And I know their league games, Mr. Schaub, are they starting soon?
Starting soon. I don't remember the dates either, but we do have a good mix of girls basketball games and boys basketball games. Currently working with a significant group, including Mr. Kelly, Mr. Daniels, Mr. Sputterbeck, to create and build a contraption that'll drop down like we used to have in the gym, where the drum set will go and where we want that, how it's going to fit with the student section. But I don't remember the dates. I think it's 6 games, 3 boys games, 3 girls games. Dates are already set. So,
Thank you again for spearheading that. Very much appreciated. And those are, other than that, there's just some substitute teachers and custodians, and that's about it. I don't think there's anything much more exciting than the highlighted items, but I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Doesn't appear to be. Okay, so we are having a motion in front of us to approve superintendent's recommendations 1 through 4. So Dawn, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Ebright,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Lightfoot,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes. Ms. Williams? Yes. So superintendent's recommendation motion is approved. Okay. Next, C, for board's consideration. These look like the we're going to discuss the school year calendar. That's exciting. We don't have to discuss it. Why is it so exciting?
It's gonna be presented in the
Then we're
public
going to,
Yes.
gotcha. Okay, so who wants?
Oh, good.
It's all good.
No, it's all good.
It's
only you all fun. Anyway, so I'm just gonna step in and say the school calendar for the 2022-2023 will be up on the webpage also, and that will be up for 30 days is the requirement.
Yes.
That you can make comments on when you see the calendar, and those comments can be directed to the superintendent, and then they will be brought before us as a board likewise, and we will look at the calendar probably in February, for sure in March, if it's not done in February, just depending on how those 30 days go and how many comments are. That is standard procedure, and not only will the public be looking at it, but it will also be unions, teachers, everything. So
Yeah, thank you. I did not know any of that,
That's
so
fine.
I appreciate that. Okay, so we don't have to have any discussion about that right now.
we,
If board
I mean,
members have a
we
question,
can,
You guys
but
have a question about the calendar, because you seem to.
Oh, Not today.
No, yeah,
today.
I was
Good.
just- I was just trying to make sure I could figure
I
out. when
have
the
some, but it
last
can
Wait,
wait.
day.
yeah, we got with that. There's
Okay.
there's some coloring that we need to work on, but those are all comments that can be directed towards Mr. Bloom until the other time.
Okay, so number 2, approve the following policies.
I would like to make a motion to split this out and pull 0169.1 and vote separately.
Second.
The first one.
0169.1, public participation at board meetings revised.
So we need to vote on that. No discussion on that item, so you just have to call the roll.
I. Or
Or
Dawn?
ask.
Who's second?
Dawn.
Ask.
Yeah, she's right.
What are we doing?
Just pull it.
We're
Yep,
pulling
pull it.
01.
Andy.
That's what we're voting.
Andy was the second one.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. All right, now Dawn is gonna call the roll.
Be Bright,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Lightfight,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas, Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Okay, now I will make a motion to approve 1530 through the rest of them.
I can second.
So this was the third reading on those policies that have been reviewed by all the board members. So we just have to take action on them accordingly. Say your thing.
Dawn, would you like to call the roll?
Ms. Bright,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Lightfight,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas, Ms. Williams.
Yes. Now we're gonna go back to the one that you filled out. Okay.
So do I make the motion to approve that policy?
0169.1. Yes.
You can make a motion.
Second.
Is that Kim?
Kim was first.
Yes, but there's no second, so we're not gonna.
There's no second, so it's dead on the table. It'll go back to policies committee and we'll rework it.
Got it.
All right, so that's that.
Told you I was
Okay.
gonna completely change the way this went.
No, that's all right. Okay, so I need a motion to go into executive session to discuss personal matters for Ohio Revised Code 121.22, parentheses G, parentheses 1.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Laura's the second. Would you like to? I'm
I know.
on. Would you like to call the roll, Dawn?
Ms. Bright,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Lightfight,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes. Time is 8:08. Oh, there's probably no action to be taken outside the meeting, so you can stay if you want to, or you can vamoose. Thank you for being patient with me, by the way.
I'll be right back. Not you, this person.
Yes.
I'm just not. I'm just not as
For a few decades.
I know.
All right, does Dawn have all her stuff?
Do you need all these signed by each of us, or these just passes? I need Laura to sign this. I don't think you signed the right.
Oh.
Whatever.
Yes, you know what? I could not find these. I knew I printed them, I couldn't find them. These are duplicates.
So we already signed all.
Yes, you did.
That's a lot.
Oh, good grief. Some of those are not duplicates.
No.
No, only these oaths of office are duplicates.
Call? I swear, I'm really not trying to get pain.
Oh,
I
no.
don't understand what the, I read an article today from Post Dispatch or Cincinnati. I don't know. I was like, somebody school districts. I wonder what people do. Is that in Carroll Sound? I was like
Crazy.
so I understand why they did what they did. But again, it's kind of too, it's gone.
Oh, yeah, it's too far.
It's
So there are some that they brought to me and I said,
Sure.
even businesses, right? Because
It's like, these people are trying to get this thing off the ground. So, anyway.
Money. Like, it was like, how can you not do this?
Kids are going to DC.
There we go.
Well, I'm hopeful that we don't encounter anything like that.
That's why I was like, never.
How are you? Yeah, it's going well though, right? Yeah. Oh.
We actually discussed that the one day, because of a trip or something, it wasn't a handicap issue, but it was, she just walked up and didn't step along that aisle. Because then you have to like go out and out.
Yeah, there's another one though, where there's a ramp.
There is
on the
another
corner, right by
one.
my office, on that corner, and there is a ramp. No, wrong out. Right where I stand.
Yeah, right in front of us, yeah.
That little.
Kids, I feel like the island. Yeah, it didn't have to be there. When you- Well, so many kids, trip.
Well-
We watch. Oh, heck. There was another one.
I got a proposal to redo the parking. And one of the things that we're gonna do around that is we want to make that whole thing level. So you won't step up over the curb, won't step over the island. Smooth transition. They still cut out the handicap portion. And they'll raise all of the drains up to that. So we're off it. Honestly, you know what you need to do? Just pull through the fire hydrant, stop 5 feet short of the door. And get out and leave your car there with your hazards on. People can drive through the other side.
Yeah. You're a high school kid, man, you're wrecking his jam. I mean.
All those kids, so nervous. With the coaches. And even the way he came in this morning, like, I don't know if they don't teach them, but and all the kids do is not broken my leg and ankles and stuff. Leave the crutches on the ground and take your foot up. They all want to put their crutches up and try to pull themselves up.
Yes.
It makes me so nervous every time. And they got book bags on and I'm like trying to catch up.
And the ice and everything else when they're walking in, it's like, oh my God.
Believe it or not, we've already gone through 2 truckloads. Because we're like.
I don't know that there is ice, but when it's chilly, we are
This
very
morning it
nervous.
was nice.
Yeah, it was this morning.
Main takeaway, use the fire lane. Just leave your car in. Yeah, you should.
And if anybody judges, we'll probably be out there anyway.
And this stall and I can try to bring the wheelchair. It's a really old fire lane.
And it's only for.
If you see smoke, don't park there. If you see there's a fire truck trying to get through.
Right.
I think that.
And with our MH units and the drop off, I mean, for my special ed brain, I watch them every day and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so unsafe because they are crossing traffic. Like, yeah.
Oh, it's
Well, and
horrible.
some
I mean,
pull over
we moved
into
it
that
around.
fire lane, what you're talking, like we get from anyway, and drop from that side, but some park in the middle and then it has to let it cross. And parents are not necessarily looking once they make that turn. They've crossed all the crosswalks. I'm going. It's a speedway between like the elementary and there, and then they whip around that corner, but that's when you MH to cross and they get dropped.
The
off. So,
crosswalk you guys put it out in the chains, in the chains. I think we're thinking about. Let me kids trip over. Trip over. I've been worried about it.
I know, I'm just saying that's really perfect.
Oh, mom, I'm tired.
No, but I got like reserved. Like, oh, the hibernation.
I know, this is my diet day, I feel like, because I don't eat, then I like.
I eat dinner at like 5. It's like my bedtime. It's my
This is my bedtime.
Yes.
Like,
Hey, you can change the location. So I just so you know, I did suggest to Brian, and that's why we put in there, we're notified, that's why I threw that in there. I personally would like to do at least once a quarter, you go to a different building, just so everyone sees the middle school or sees the elementary.
Where at in the middle school we gonna go?
He said that
Oh,
we
I
could
think
do the
it's
one
awesome.
commons room or something, but
It's
it's
so
just the
cool.
idea to try to get us to see the building.
Well, that's a good idea.
No, I don't need to have a motion to come out. I just say we're out and we can. Right.
And you know what'll happen?
Oh, the seats are cold.
And you get to sign all this stuff.
My dogs will get me up, and I might-
Robert, are we ready? Okay,
Oh, yeah.
so we're out of executive committee or executive session at 9:12 PM. Okay, next is D. Any other business to come before the board?
Yes, I would like to make a motion that we have the community forum to discuss other measures to decrease the spread of COVID in our school.
And I'll second that. Discussion.
What time, place, location, means of items are we discussing? Will we do this?
We had talked, I think, next Thursday. I think that was mentioned.
So community be notified,
Yes.
What time?
but will there be a virtual
We did
option?
the 7.
How do
I
we,
can try to rework my schedule. I work till 7 that day.
This, what, 7?
is there any sporting events?
See, I don't know.
How about, I would suggest that we circle back with all of those items. The goal is for next Thursday, but not set in stone, but it will need to be set in stone by the end of this week. So by Friday,
What's tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
end of day.
There's
Fair.
a varsity girls basketball game on the 20th.
Here,
Yes. No, at Arcadia.
okay.
For that one.
I
But
think,
it's not, it's gone.
yeah, it's away. I just didn't want,
Okay.
if it's
Having a
home,
play.
yeah,
So next
So-
Thursday,
is what we're tentatively planning, but
Yeah.
we will confirm by towards the end of business day on Friday.
and we have to put that notice in the newspaper.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
It's just notification.
Yes.
Because,
We'll notify the newspaper.
and I just want, this is where I'm gonna get technical when it comes to it. So the request was for a forum. That's what we want, right? Okay.
Community.
Got it.
What were you clarifying?
There's a difference between forum and a special meeting.
Would you like to educate me on that, please? I
A
don't know.
forum is a community forum and it is just to discuss, no motions, no actions, nothing the board can do can take place at that point.
Just gathering information.
Yep. So I'm just letting the board know that from that standpoint, which I'm completely fine with forum and everyone can
Everyone-
hear the
everyone's
same
okay
message
with
and go from there. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
That means that there doesn't have to be an agenda. There doesn't have to be anything is what I'm meaning by that. Yeah. A special meeting would require an agenda. You would have to call it to
So we don't
order.
have to notify the newspaper.
We would still, because it's a community forum, just to get. people-
Advertise.
Yes.
We don't-
You don't have to follow the same
I
thing is
got
what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's why I just wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
the intention was there. Sorry, that was not me trying to be
No, no, no.
hide things or anything. So,
Okay, so we're good. Community forum, end of tomorrow, we'll confirm time, place, date. Yes? Good, okay.
Good.
So, let's, talk about adjourning. We have a. Oh, to do the community forum, okay. Roll, please.
Ms. Ebright. Yes. Mr. Fisher.
Yes.
Mr. Lightfoot.
yes.
Ms. Thomas.
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes, so the motion to have a community forum, hopefully sometime on Thursday, has passed. Okay, now, on to adjournment.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Andy. And second? Jim. And the roll, please.
Ms. Ebright,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher.
Yes.
Mr. Lightfight.
Yes.
Ms. Thomas.
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes.